Hey guys, Mrs. Stans here. So we're starting our new unit, Geometry of Angles, and today we will practice measuring angles with a protractor. I'm hoping you have some experience with that since you guys are learning from home. We're actually going to go to a site that I found where we could use an online protractor. So there will be some stuff in the workbook that we don't fill out. And then, of course, we're classifying angles. Hopefully, you've heard about acute, obtuse, right, and straight. But it is a new workbook, so if you don't have your name on it, do it. And if you could read through the notes and then answer the questions at the bottom, that would be great. I am going to go over it with you, of course, and make some little marks. So you can hit pause and read through on your own, and then do the rest with me. So some important things about this page is, first of all, when we have our quiz, there's actually going to be a vocabulary section. There's so much vocabulary in geometry that there's actually a vocabulary part of the quiz that's matching. So some terms you need to know is definitely what an angle is. It's the union of two rays, and those rays share a common endpoint. Um, the sides of the angle really are two rays. A ray is something that has one end point and goes forever in the other direction. So when those two rays meet at the same end point, that's how an angle is formed. And now that shared end point is called the vertex of the angle. And angles are named in multiple ways. My favorite way is naming it with a number. So this has a number 1 in it. So it could be called angle 1. And the symbol in front of that number 1 there, that's the angle symbol. We very often also name angles using 3 letters. So we can name this MGK. The way that you know the order to write the letters is if you trace this angle. I pass M, then I pass G, then I pass K. So angle MGK. Of course, I could start at K, so I could call it KGM. Always that center letter is the vertex of the angle. Sometimes people would call this angle G. I usually stay away from that though, because if you have a picture like this one, I can't call this angle C. There are just too many angles in this picture that have C as its vertex. So I usually stay away from naming it with just one letter. I could name this that's highlighted in blue angle ACH. And then I could, I'll use this turquoise color, I could name this angle HCQ. There's even a larger angle in here. I'll use this orange color, ACQ, right? That's a large angle. It's obtuse. But there's a few different angles in this picture. And another term you need to know for your vocabulary test is what perpendicular lines are. This is a picture of perpendicular lines. They're lines that meet or intersect to form right angles. And now we can answer these questions. The vertex of all of these angles in this picture is P. Now, capital letters always stand for a point. Another name for angle 1, so you could see angle 1 is in the interior on the inside of this angle that I just traced in orange. So angle 1 could also be called angle, and you got to use your angle symbol, APB. Of course, you could have called an angle BPA. I'm only going to write down one thing now. I'll use a different color. In green, angle 2, you could see 2 is here in the interior of this thing that I just outlined. So when we name it with a number, remember that number gets written in the interior of the angle. So angle 2 could be called angle BPD. And I'll use this blue color. Angle 3, if I trace it, it's this. which could be called angle DPC. Then it asks for a point on the interior of angle BPC. So I'm going to erase some of this writing so I could trace over the angle they're talking about. I'm a tracer always when it comes to angles, even when I'm taking like my own test. So you might want to have some colored pencils or highlighters. So angle BPC, B to P to C. So what I just outlined here, a point in the interior would be this point D. The sides of angle 2, so let me go back to highlighting angle 2. So remember, sides of an angle are rays. When you name a ray, you always start at the end point. So one of the rays is PB. Now, in order to know this is a ray, we use a symbol above these letters, which is just a line with an arrow at one side, because a ray has one end point and it goes forever in the other direction. The other side is PD, and we've got to put that ray symbol above it. When we name a ray, we always start at the end point. Now, PB, this ray that's going up, is perpendicular to, that bottom line, this, because it makes a right angle. See that box right there? So that line on the bottom is AC. You go from a letter at one end to a letter at the other end. It is a line now. It's got arrows at both ends. So a line symbol has arrows at both ends. And the definition of an angle was written up above. Remember that an angle is the union of two rays sharing a common endpoint. Here's some more definitions that are on your vocabulary test. You have to know what a line segment is. You have to know what a line is. And you have to know what a ray is. I'm going to tell you the symbols for these again. Remember, oh, we didn't even talk about a line segment. A line segment would just be this line with no arrows at either end. A line symbol has arrows at both ends, and a ray symbol always points to the right. Like if this was segment AB, I would put AB underneath that symbol. If this was ray C, and there's usually a point here, D, I'd call it ray CD. That's my ray symbol with one arrow. And then with a line, there's usually 2 points on it. Maybe it's EF. So I put the EF underneath that line symbol. Other definitions that are on your vocabulary quiz is what does congruent mean? Congruent means the same measure, same degree measure is what congruent is. And these terms are on your vocabulary test. An acute angle is an angle that measures more than 0 degrees and less than 90 degrees. A right angle is exactly 90 degrees. An obtuse angle is more than 90 degrees and less than 180. And a straight angle is exactly 180 degrees. And this picture, I wish there was like a point next to the R and a point next to the X and a point next to the M and a point next to the B, just so that we know that they represent points. Names for this angle here, remember when you trace it, I pass P, K, N. I can call it that, angle P, K, N. If I continue drawing here, I get to W, so I could also call it PKW. I would never use 4 letters though, it's always just 3 letters. It's 1 point from one ray, then the vertex, and then 1 point from the other ray. Of course, I could change the order of these letters. Instead of PKN, I can call it angle NKP. Also, there's a number in here. I could call it angle 3. That's my favorite. Some people call it angle K, but I don't like that, so I'm not writing it down. The sides of the angle, remember sides are rays that start at the end point. So ray KP is one of the sides, and ray K, you could call it KN or you could call it KW, it doesn't matter, it's the same thing. The vertex is K. Points in the interior, those points inside are R and X. And the point in the exterior, I see an M and a B. There is no symbol for points, you just use a capital letter. And points on the angle, I see P and K and N and W. So that's pretty much the notes that we're taking, because the rest of this now is measuring. And I can't show you on the screen how to measure with a protractor. So actually, I want you to go to the Google Classroom assignment. And you could see I gave you some of these links. So this first one is about how to measure an angle using a protractor. And if we look at what I put in the assignment, I said you'll watch a video of me teaching. Yep, that's what you're in the middle of doing right now. And that I said I was going to use a site for measuring angles. You have to, of course, write down all the notes from the lesson. You have to visit the site. It's actually sites, plural, that I am providing. I'm actually going to fix that. We're going to multiple sites. And you have to practice on the sites that I've demonstrated and take some pictures. So when you go to the site, after you do something that I ask you to do, you could take a picture and then attach it to the Google Classroom to show me that you did what I asked you to do. So you can see what I'm going to ask you to do down here for homework. On the first site, this one that says Age of Angles, you're going to use the Practice tab and take 4 pictures of angles you have measured. So you have to do 4 angles, so I should see 4 different pictures, and they should not be the ones that I'm going to show you in this video, because these are the ones I'm doing. You're going to watch me so that you know how to do it on your own. So let's do that first. So let's go to the site. And it says in my Google Classroom, it said go to the practice mode. And now here we have a protractor. There is an angle. I'm going to show you how to use a protractor. So you have to take that center mark in the bottom of the protractor and put it on the vertex. And then you have to use this thing that rotates the protractor so that the line of the angle, like one of those rays, lines up with the 0 mark on the protractor. Do you see like that line is matching up perfectly with the 0 mark, right? If you have to move this so that that center mark is exactly on the vertex, please do it. If you have to adjust this angle, please do it. And then you look at this other ray and read the numbers. Now, some people get confused. They say there's 2 sets of numbers, Mrs. Dans, which one am I supposed to use? Well, notice that this line at the bottom is at 0 or at 180. Well, we never start counting from 180, so I want you to look at the 0 mark and follow the numbers that started at 0, and you can see that this is at in between 110 and 120, and then there's these little marks that each stand for 1. So it must be 110, 11, it must be about 113. So I'm going to put in 113 here. Sometimes I'm off by 1 degree. You really can't be off by more than a degree, otherwise it's too much. So let's check it. Ooh, I'm correct. So that's how you measure angles. Let's try again. I'm going to hit next. So you can see there's another angle here. I'm going to put this on the vertex. I'm going to rotate it until the 0 mark is on the ray of the angle. I'm going to start at the 0 mark and read, and I see it's like 1 mark before 100, so I guess it's 99. And I'm correct. Next. I want these angles to point the other way. I don't know if it ever will. So I put that on the vertex. I turn this, and I read from the 0. It's a little more than 90. Looks like 92. And I'm correct. So I guess they all point that way. I'm going to put like a wrong answer. Oh, I know what kind of wrong answer I'm going to put. So if I measure this. So some people use the wrong number, so that's going to be like my wrong answer. The right answer should be 92. I'm going to put 88 and see what happens. See, it's too low. I'm 4 degrees off. So I'm going to put 92 and it says I'm correct. Aha, an obtuse one. This one I could even prove to you better about the wrong number people use. Remember, this ray down here is at the 0, so I'm using these numbers. So it's a very large angle. It is really large, isn't it? So it looks obtuse, so of course it's going to be a number greater than 90 and less than 180. So it looks like it's at 168, but some people make a mistake and use this outside number, and they'll write like it's 12 degrees. Take a look at it. It's definitely not 12 degrees. 12 degrees would be a super skinny angle. But what if I put 12 degrees here? Oh, it's way off. See how it tells me how much off it is? So you have to do 4 of these on your own. And take a picture like after you put the correct answer. So I'm going to say that this is 168. I'm going to click check, and right here you take a picture for me. So you have to do it 4 times on your own. So even if you wanted to hit pause right now, do 4 of them on your own so that you have these 4 pictures, and then turn the video back on because I'll show you the next site. All right, so if we go back to our Google Classroom, it says on the second site, it's about acute, obtuse, and right angles. And there's a 15-question quiz. So just remember what we did in our notes about acute, right, obtuse, and straight. So acute is more than 0, less than 90. A right is exactly 90. Obtuse is more than 90, less than 180. And a straight angle is exactly 180. If we were to go to this page and not measure and just like look at the pictures and classify it, I know that that first picture is acute. And I know it's acute because it's skinnier than an L. Like think of the letter L, which is a right angle. And if it's a skinny L, then it's acute. If it's a wide L, like this one, then this is obtuse. If it's an exact L, then this one's going to be a right angle. There really should be a box here to tell me it's right if I'm not going to use a protractor to measure it. And if it's a straight line with a dot in the middle, this is a straight angle. So that other site, if we go back to our Google Classroom, and we click on this, I said you're going to take the 15-question quiz. So I'm not going to do this for you. You're going to read and click the correct answer and then click next and next and next and next. And I say that you have to get right here, you must earn an 85. I just like moved something. Here, you must earn 85% or better. So be careful when you're taking that quiz. You can't just like click away and get it wrong. Get them right, and then at the end it'll tell you your quiz results, so please take a picture of your results. So today you're sending me the notes that we did, 4 pictures of the angles you measured, and the score on your quiz. And that's it. So have a good day. I will talk to you soon.